rifles used by the American GI in the Second World War. What I'm holding here is a 1903 A3 Springfield rifle. What was a standard rifle of almost the entire free world in this basic form in the First World War was limited standard production in the Second World War, though the Marines made many landings with this in the early 40s. The mechanism of this rifle was copied almost directly from the German Mauser rifle. They had a great idea and it worked, but we copied it. We actually owed them royalties for the feeding mechanism until we won the First World War. I'll take the clip out. This rifle, as well as all of the weapons used in the Second World War by the Germans, the British, the French, the Japanese, and the Russians, all worked in the same fashion as this rifle. 5 rounds on a stripper clip will be stuffed into the rifle, stuffed in, bolt will be closed, and you can now fire the rifle. To fire each round, you would pull the trigger, you would have to open the bolt, eject the old one, and drive it home again. It's a rather slow method, dates back to the turn of the century. The next evolution, as adopted by the United States military in 1936, this is the U.S. rifle, caliber 30, model M1. What this gave to the American servicemen was ruggedness, reliability, accuracy, and firepower. While all of our adversaries were busy cocking rounds one at a time, you simply loaded this rifle with 8 rounds. As I run out of clips, I'll look for more. Thank you. This just in. The entire 8-round clip was inserted into the weapon and closed. Then you simply had to pull the trigger 8 times as needed. Much faster. If you were, for example, trying to get across this field and there was a squad of enemy soldiers, half your squad would fire this rifle as fast as they felt necessary. The other guys kept their head down. You'd advance on that squad. Fire and maneuver. Works every time. Adopted in 1936, it was described by General George Patton as the greatest battle implement ever devised. It was a major rifle carried by troops. We also started the war with the Thompson submachine gun. This is a World War II version. It was a little simplified from the gangster version. Fewer moving parts, easier to manufacture. To build this gun, you started with approximately 30 pounds of steel. You machined away everything that did not look like a Thompson. Probably took 5 days, about 25 men, and God knows how many hours to do it. A much simpler way of making a World War II submachine gun, which we copied from the British and the Germans, was to go to General Motors, take their hubcap machine, General Motors guide lamp division. You stamped out a right half, you stamped out a left half, you welded it together, and in about 7.5 minutes you had a submachine gun for less than $12. This particular version of the gun was in service in tanks until the 1990s. The M3A1 grease gun, because it looked like a grease gun that you would grease your vehicle with. One of the guns that we copied technology from was the German MP40. Very simple, made out of stamped steel, rugged, reliable, and accurate. Folding stock, easy to fit on your shoulder, works every time. Here's a rifle that you would hate if you had to carry it, and if someone was shooting at you, you'd love it. The Browning automatic rifle, model of 1918 A2. When this rifle was adopted in 1917, it was considered to be a secret weapon. The patent was not filed until the end of hostilities of the First World War. We didn't want the Germans to get the technology. You'd simply insert the 20-round magazine, cock it. Now on full automatic, it would fire those 20 rounds. 10 seconds, you could empty it. Came with a bipod on it. It's heavy, it's bulky, it catches on branches. If you study World War II photographs, you'll almost never see a bipod on it. They would take it off. Each squad had one BAR man. If you talk to a World War II vet, he can tell you the name of his BAR man. This rifle was extremely accurate, rugged, and reliable.
Load up now.
Dad, is that your new launcher?
Move over to the support weapon category. The Browning 1919 A4 light machine gun. fire ammunition from a belt. Each can would hold 250 rounds, and it would work continuously. The first gun was adopted in 1917 as a water-cooled version.
What do you say?
The design was done so well that you could take the parts out of the first gun ever built. They would fit and function in the last gun ever built. We used them until the 1970s in National Guard units. The Israelis used them well into the 1980s with very little modification in the original design. A three-man troop would carry this, one gunner, one guy to carry the tripod, and everybody else carrying ammunition. It was a very solid, rugged, reliable design that gave a lot of fire support. For example, if the squad was bogged down, this gun would be firing on the enemy while the squad could advance. Once they got to cover, they would fire, the gun would advance, and you would leapfrog your way up to your objective. If you had to shoot at an airplane, or anything else that really needed to be stopped, the M2 HB 50 caliber machine gun. Adopted in 1926, it's still in service today. How can you argue with something that shoots these? Very hard to do. This one's not real. They wouldn't give me a real one. You know, my birthday's in June. Adopted in 1926, it's still in use today. It holds the record as the longest serving United States weapon. What we'd like to do is a quick blank firing and demonstration. We'll move it to rifle grenades. All right, you know what, let's touch on the rifle grenade since Pete has kindly brought one. And on the second turn. One man per squad was generally designated as a grenadier. Simply by putting an attachment on the end of the rifle, you could fire pineapple grenades. I spoke to a vet who had this task and I said, Bill, how accurate is it? He nodded, he says, you get anything you had to. Very accurate.
This bridged the gap between the 60mm mortar set up over there and what a man could hand throw a grenade. This is a regular fragmentation grenade. They also have the anti-tank grenades. So depending on what you were shooting at, you would vary what you would put on the end of the rifle. Fired a special blank cartridge. However, you did not put this to your shoulder. It would break your shoulder. The position would be, you would kneel down. Getting up is going to be the tough part. Angle the rifle at a certain distance. Where you pulled this down, you would see these little grooves here on the launcher. That would determine the range.
Oh, wow.
And you would hold it down, load the special blank in, pull the trigger, and it would launch. On these, you would first, on this, well, you'd pull the pin first.
Otherwise, they throw it back.
Yeah, they pull the pin and throw it back, and you don't want that. Because then if they threw it back and it went off, then your friends would shoot you, not the enemy.
We're going to begin our blank firing demonstration with the Springfield model of 1903. We ask you guys to step back behind the line that way, please.
Ready?
Yeah,
Cover your ears.
Again, your ammunition was issued to you on a 5-round clip.
Cover your ears, boy.
Cover your ears.
Stuff it. Roll the clip away.
Cover your ears. Take a look. That's not that loud.
Awesome.
It's not that loud.
5 rounds. That's the same mechanism that was used by every army in the world in the Second World War, except for us with the M1 rifle.
I know it's that loud. This one's
Here we go.
Ready?
The M1 rifle, as Dan mentioned, fired from an 8-round clip called an end block. Being a semi-automatic weapon, the weapon would fire as fast as you could pull the trigger. So it added a tremendous amount of firepower, put that suppressive firepower down on that enemy to keep their heads down.
Multiply that by a squad of 12 men.
cool.
All right, shoot the Madus.
Oh my God! Come here. Awesome.
PAR is the same ammunition as the other one interchangeability. It's a major important feature.
He just pulls the
So
trigger.
we'll load your 20-round magazine.
Ready?
Cover your ears.
Ready?
And it's heavy. That was 10 rounds. How long did that take?
Not even seconds. 5 seconds.
Wow.
Can't get them in full.
After just a short burst of firing, you'd have to make sure you didn't grab it and burn your hand on the barrel. 1917 technology. It soldiered on into the 1960s and 70s. Let's do the brown.
Oh, yeah, the brown.
Everybody likes to
Have somebody run down the film.
I got it, babe.
This? How about the same? We're a little closer now, so whatever you think.
It's loud.
It's actually more difficult to get a gun to run with blanks than it is live ammunition.
To let that thing go.
That's about 3 times slower than the full automatic gun would be. They're probably a lot more fun. It's another thing I'm not allowed to have. All right, Pete's going to demonstrate the rifle grenade.
Oh my god! Oh my
Now
god!
being at this,
Red bar, now watch that go up in flames, people.
all right, I'm going to need
Got a call there?
you. After I shoot, I'm going to need you. I need 2 because this is going to separate in the air. This launcher goes off. These were disposable, this piece. So I'm going to need you to either pick this up with a grenade and you, gentlemen in the gray. You got to give them back. Then I have to go to the car and get the real bolt.
Is it going to explode? No. Just a dummy grenade.
Normally,
just
I'd only
normal.
load a single blank. Being that these are dummies, I don't need the special grenade launching blank, so being I'm going to do 2 demonstrations, I'm just going to load the clip in.
Without chopping his thumb and getting him one thumb. The butt of the rifle is placed into the grass.
Right, you guys won't go till I tell you. Just keep an eye on where it goes.
Hopefully it works.
Oh, wow.
It didn't separate. There it goes. All right, go ahead, you 2 guys.
Forgot to count to 5.
1, 2, 3, 4. That was awesome!
Get off my lawn.
No, I got in trouble for that.
Oh, here comes the rock. Hey, you got 10 seconds to No, it's
Come back behind the line. We're going to do another one.
Frank, come on, bud.
I didn't hear an explosion. That must have been a dud.
All right. I held it at pretty much. I'm too close to vertical. Put that down. Grab that. Careful, it might fall. It might be real. Grab it by the horn.
And just a note, those are regular rifle blanks just designed to make noise. Grenade rifle blanks have a much hotter charge and would send that well past that fence line with the accuracy needed to put it through a window or into a vehicle. The grenade launching blanks are so powerful, we pretty much consider them dangerous. You would hate to mix or match them into your rifle. It could blow the rifle up.